think I would be remiss if I didn't mention what a quality team Princeton is and how well they played tonight. I mean, you really had two teams that both wanted it really badly and both had tremendous moments. And if it wasn't for this one right here, they might have scored a couple. And I thought their keeper did really well, and they blocked shots and we blocked shots. And it just, this is not a game that one team dominated, although each team had their moments where they were dominating. And so tip of the hat to Princeton. They played awesome, huge crowd, unbelievable environment that we got to play in tonight. That must have been difficult, but they handled it really well. And you know, they're a fabulous team. So great job to Sean and that crew. As far as the environment goes, I mean, that's one of the most electric nights we've ever had here. Nick and I remember Pepperdine winning in penalties late. That didn't equal this level of ferociousness from the fans and the loud cheering and the singing and the people wrapped around the fence. I mean, truly Lubbock and Texas Tech came out for us tonight, and you know, we're super thankful. The team was resilient. The team was gutsy. The team showed some character. And when it came to penalties, we knew who our five were for quite a while. And I will tell you, with Peyton, it's rare that you pick a sophomore to go fifth, but she's just tough as nails. I mean, nothing bothers her. You know, she's growing up here as a player and getting better every day, but the one thing you know about Peyton is she's really not rattled. And that's why she was fifth. They say to put your best one at fourth. We thought Ashley would be great at fourth, but I guess after 14 goals in the season, we'll give her some grace for missing a penalty. And then, you know, because Maddie made that fantastic kick save, then Peyton was able to put it away for us. So it means a lot for us to advance. We're thrilled that we're in the next round. We're honestly quite thrilled that we get to play such a historic team like Carolina, and we get to do it at home. So it was a great night for Red Raider soccer and Red Raider Nation all together.
All right, we'll take questions for either Peyton or Madison. Go ahead.
Maddie, with those first few kicks between both teams and PKs, it seemed like a lot of them were going to the same area, kind of like to the far left side. What was your approach to stick your foot out and block that one shot?
You know, the first three obviously went in, which was, I could have gotten frustrated easily, which I didn't, thankfully, but you know, I was trying to read the first three and I just read them wrong. I think I went the right way on one of them and then the other two went the other way, but that fourth or fifth one, the kick save, I read her that way. I read her to my left and I went and she just hit it a little bit too inside and I had no way to get there with my hands, so I just shoved my feet out there. Honestly, I just went to kick at it because that's all I could do and that's the only thing that would have kept the ball out of the net, so that's what I had to do.
Maddie, they kind of kept you pretty active there in the first half. What were they doing offensively to kind of put pressure on the defense there?
You know, I think that they didn't press us very high, but they would let us come into them. And once we hit them, once our center backs and our outside backs hit them, they would press. And I think they had Kylie and Elise and Lou, our outside backs towards the end. I think they kept trapping them outside, which is kind of something I think that is something that we have that's very threatening. So I think they did a good job in the first half of trapping our outside backs and limiting how many times that they could get in behind.
Peyton, did you have your mind made up where you were going with the kick as soon as you got there, or did you kind of read the situation?
Yeah, I had my mind made up. I mean, we practiced them all year, so I was confident and ready when I went up. But a side note is the other team's parents were telling telling the goalkeeper which side I was going to go to, and they were right. But I went there anyway, so yeah, I had my mind made up.
Well, you got some playing time, but not a lot, so it's cold out there, it's kind of chilly. So how do you kind of stay focused, and especially knowing, hey, this is coming, this might happen, and you're the last one to kind of end it for you?
Yeah, I mean, I got to play the last bit of overtime, so I got ready and warmed up then. But again, like we've practiced these all year, so I knew I was ready, I knew I was prepared, and I didn't have any doubts in my mind. I knew I was confident, ready to take that kick, so I didn't have any negative thoughts in my head about being cold or anything like that.
Go ahead, Sean.
Peyton, what is it like knowing that you have the confidence that you've got Maddie in goal that can stop anything at any time, and having the ability of knowing, if I lean on her, I'll be able to bring it home?
Yeah, I mean, every time someone from Princeton went up to take a kick, I was sitting there going, let's go, Maddie, let's go, Maddie, let's go, Maddie, you got this. From half, and every single time I was like, it's coming, it's coming. And right before the kick that she saved it, I looked at Ashley and I said, she's gonna save this. And they missed it, but I mean, still the same thing. She was amazing, and I always know that I can lean on her. And right before I was getting ready to go up, I was like, come on, Maddie, you got this again. And she saved it, and that also gives me more confidence to go take my kick because the pressure's off my shoulders. Like, if I miss it, then we keep going, but if I make it, then we're done. So she really took all the pressure off my shoulders, and I was very confident, so because of her.
Hey, can you kind of talk about their defense? I mean, they were, I guess, I don't know, you played against them, like, what were they doing really well against y'all?
I think they were reading our cuts that we were doing back inside, and we kept trying to go through them instead of doing what we normally do. That's been working for us all year, so I think they just read what we were doing. We switched it up, and we got some good opportunities getting around them and getting around the corner. But their defense was strong tonight, and they did play really well.
Any other questions for athletes?
I guess for you, Maddie, you've been here 5 years now. How does it feel to kind of get to this point and have to make a season-high saves to get to the tournament? And of course, not even including the penalty kick.
How many saves?
6.
You know, obviously, I think it's bittersweet for me and the other 6 seniors because that could have very well been our last game. But I think that we, even though we did not score, we kept them out, and that's not just my doing. That's everyone that's in front of me as well. But I'm just super proud of the way everyone played because regardless of things possibly didn't go our way, we didn't score, but we were gritty and we were resilient and we just kept going at them. Even though we weren't getting exactly what we wanted, which was goals, we just kept going at them.
Questions for Coach Stone?
Coach, can you just talk about what kind of adjustments did y'all make going into that overtime period when y'all just kind of went firing on all cylinders on the offensive side when that back line was just giving y'all a really hard time in regulation?
You know, adjustments are really a halftime thing or in the flow of a game if a team changes formations or whatever. But in overtime, it's more of a remind them what can get you beat and remind them what can keep us on top. So we talked about just some fundamental things about getting to the ball first and securing it and being careful through the transition area. And so just reminding them, you're on top of them, you played really well in the second half, more of the same. And that's what we told them at the halftime of the overtime was more of that. It'll continue to create chances for us. We talked about maybe needing another number in the box because we actually had some crosses that went all the way through. So we did mention that. And just to keep our composure, you know, that there's times that you have to clear your lines and get it to the other end of the field in an overtime game. But if that's all you do, you're probably not winning in overtime.
And then last week, you said that, kind of looking ahead, that the North Carolina head coach, Anson Dorrance, is just a lifelong friend of yours. What does it mean that you're going to go up against him when you've had a friendship spanning decades in a game that has such high stakes?
Well, I think, you know, I mean, he deserves credit, but I mean, if you think about it, between the two of us, we have 21 national championships. 22, sorry. So, you know, it's an honor to play those guys. They've had a good season. We know them well. Getting them here was getting all these guys here was a big deal. Obviously super respectful of all that they've accomplished, and I don't know that there could be a more exciting matchup for our fans than us to take on, you know, the perennial ACC champion, Final Four contender almost every year in our backyard. We're glad that Alabama took them to the wire. So they had a tough game today, and, you know, we're looking forward to Sunday.
Go ahead, Sean.
Coach, what does this say about this team that they didn't allow those opportunities when they went through the box, and it just didn't seem like plenty of opportunities where you were just this close, and yet they still continued to have the fight and the composure that they needed to go on and to, you know, some teams would have been let down out of that.
Well, we talk a lot about, and Nick brings this up quite often with our team, about suffering. When the other team is doing well, you got to be willing to suffer through those moments and be fine with it. It's part of soccer. If you suffer through 3 quarters of football, you're getting beat 78-0. But if you suffer through 10 minutes of soccer, it can still be 0-0. It's like hockey. You've got a goalkeeper like Maddie, and you got shot blockers like Crunch and Hannah, and 1v1 flyers like Elise and Kylie. then even in a moment that looks bleak, you got the athleticism to recover and you got the commitment to block shots. And that's what we did. I mean, Kylie's back post heading today was incredible. And I thought, Maddie came out and punched a couple, but Hannah and Crunch both blocked shots, and just kind of what you do, you bend but you don't break. And I think we've given up 9 goals all year. So that's pretty good, because you're right, we took a lot of heat, but we weathered it. And that's what we love about this group. I don't think they really ever got rattled. I mean, I don't think they were happy about it, but they weren't like barking at each other or losing their cool or, then becoming irrational. I think early in the season or when we were younger, those moments would have cost us to be irrational, maybe hot, maybe a little bit, feisty, but we just stayed cool with it. It's like, okay, we'll block another shot. The number 17 was big time. She was shaking her mark and getting shots, and then a player was coming across and blocking it. So those were big moments for us.
What does it say about the importance of Sunday's game for you and for this program?
Well, I think, we will treat it like another game because it's happened. We've been like that all year. And, you don't need to get overhyped. It's been a great run. We're not looking for it to end. It's an honor to be in this game and to be at home. And so we'll do all of our normal routines. We'll be excited to play. We'll watch video. We know the Tar Heels pretty well, but our girls will get to know them a little bit better tomorrow. And I think that, it's an opportunity as much as it's anything. And to be here will be fantastic.
How do you as a coach handle the PK situation where you just kind of have to trust?
Terribly. Yeah, you really just, the only time I jumped up was when, I think it was Alex's, because it was hit with such authority. And I was like, yeah, but the rest of the time we just kind of sit there, it's out of your hands at that point. Every prayer that you can throw up is going up for Maddie and for them, and just keep them calm and hope that they can, do what they came to do. So it's hard because it's nothing you can do at that point. I mean, the game is even, the coach and I shook hands before penalties and we were like, great game. What are we gonna do now? But I think when you're a coach this many years and a dad, you start to think about how devastated they would be, and that can overwhelm you if you let that thought creep into your head during penalties. Like, oh my gosh, we losing penalties, they're going to be wrecked. I mean, Maddie's last game and Hannah's last game, Liv and all the grannies, and so we didn't wander into that territory at all. We're just dialed in. Blair's working hard because he's got Maddie and he are communicating, and they've got conversations about where this kid goes, we go back 20 games on video and try to find all that stuff. So Blair's the hardest working man during shootouts, and he's keeping a record of everything, because if we go past 10, we're going back around again. So he's writing all that stuff down, and I think for Nick and I, we were just like, come on, it's been too great of a year to let it go now. And, like I said, we cheered twice. I cheered twice really hard. Alex's and, of course, Peyton's. And I was so proud of you.
Thank you.
It's magic.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Good luck Sunday.